Now to Cape Town, where the University of Cape Town has come up with a plan to address gender-based violence. Kwanele is a new digital tool that they've come up with to track and help counter sexual misconduct in the campuses. The survivor-centered app allows GBV incidents to be reported without fear of persecution or shaming. And Isaac is the legal manager of UCT's special tribunal that deals with formal disciplinary processes for sexual misconduct. And she joins us this morning to talk about this as well as the efforts that they're making in this regard. A very good morning to you, Anne. Thank you for joining us this morning on the SA Morning. Tell us more about this app, Kwanele, and what actually stimulated and encouraged you as the university to come up with an intervention of this nature.
All right. So, as you know, Leonora will be the person that will give you the information on what the app actually does. Basically, the university has a university student tribunal, which we in 2019 synergized to deal with both staff and student matters that involve sexual misconduct. The university does have its own online reporting system through the Office of the Inclusivity and Change. However, it is quite exciting to collaborate and partner with Kwanele, who's developed an app that's going to be very useful for our campus community and the community at large. It has various features, which Leonora from Kwanele will tell you about. But for me, as the manager of the University Court for Sexual Misconduct, the app's relevance, I think, for our work is that it has an ability to gather live evidence, and evidence of someone's experience can be actually stored on a vault. And this evidence becomes very material for us when we take the matter through to the disciplinary process. And as you know, it's very traumatic for people who have experienced sexual violence to come and give their evidence and tell us what's happened. And so having evidence that they may have stored on their app, using it in corroboration of what they're telling us, and for us to be able to have this evidence is going to make the experience of a survivor going through a formal disciplinary process a lot simpler. It's going to help them, in terms of not feeling the trauma, or minimizing the trauma that one feels when giving evidence. Trauma evidence is very different from evidence that someone's going to give us in terms of having something stolen or having committed plagiarism, for example. So this is a very critical need to have Kwanele collaborate with us, and the ability to share, of course, with consent of a survivor who has recorded this, that we can use this evidence in our formal disciplinary processes. And it will definitely assist in better outcomes for the survivor. So that is specifically the usefulness, I think, for the special tribunal that deals with sexual misconduct.
And we know, Anne, that in any case, evidence is key to the outcome of that case. So actually having a tool that will assist gather that live evidence is really quite innovative in a time and situation when there would be no witnesses to help collaborate your particular story. But I'm wondering, in the case of a rape, for example, that happens, at what point are the authorities becoming part of the process here?
Could you just repeat that?
At what point do the authorities become part of the process? Let's say a student gets assaulted, for example. What is the process that they go through as far as the university is concerned? And at what point does the South African Police Services become part of that process? Or are they involved right from the beginning of the reporting of the crime?
No, so remember that when we have a case that's reported to us by a student or a staff member, we're basically taking the matter through to the disciplinary process based on our institutional rules and policies. So it's a breach of a conduct rule. And so we deal with it in what we call an administrative space, an administrative hearing. And the person who has experienced the violation, we encourage their own agency in making that decision as to whether they want the matter to proceed within the university as well as through the criminal justice system. And so we take our cue, during the consultation with the survivor. We will ascertain whether they want to also report the case at SAPS. We do assist in helping them navigate that process, but of course, we're not a party to the proceedings outside of UCT. So a person can report a matter to go forward, either just at the university, or they can choose to have the matter reported both at the university as well as the criminal justice system. And these processes can run parallel to each other, although the effect of sanctioning someone when found guilty will be different, because our sanctions will depend on the person's status at the university, whether they are a student or a staff member. And these sanctions are very different from the sanction that the person could get at the criminal courts.
As far as Kwanele is concerned, yes, you did say earlier on that they would talk to us more about it. But I see here that it is actually connected to various law enforcement and various security services able to track in real time and able to give some safety information. But I'm wondering, with the incidences of sexual misconduct that are reported on campus, do you find that the perpetrators are usually students themselves or perhaps the lecturers themselves, or do you find that there are third parties who are actually not even part of the UCT structure that may be involved in these assaults?
All of that, actually. We find that cases can involve student on student, staff on staff, or staff on student. And quite often we get reports of people, we refer to them as third parties. So it could be a third party that's come onto campus. And our students and staff members could experience a violation off campus. And so it's very complex in terms of our jurisdiction to act when an offense occurs off campus. So if it's related to the work of the university or the studies of students who, for example, are on a field trip, then the university will consider the extent of the jurisdiction to actually investigate and take the matter into the disciplinary space. But in those instances, we do encourage the survivors to report cases at SAPS. And you're quite correct. Kwanele's app has multi-functions which assist with reporting to SAPS. Because as I said, UCT has its own online reporting tool for students and staff, which is situated in the Office of Inclusivity and Change. And that continues. That reporting system must continue, because that enables us as a university to keep our own data, to have the details, to reach out to people who have reported on the system. And Kwanele's, the collaboration with Kwanele is really an extremely important additional support that is offered to the campus community.
And what's for sure, and is that one can never be too careful. You can never have too many measures for safety. We thank you so much for your time.